Alright guys, so for number 7, they've given us the equation for the curve that they're going to use to kind of summarize the dots or to make predictions about the dots. So here's how it works. We got y hat equals 0.631 times 1.453 to the power of x, right? So that's how we would say that. And so what they ask us to do here is they say, okay, what's the initial value when, or I'm sorry, is when x is 10. So in the year 95, use this to predict what would happen or how many million users there'd be in the year 1995. So in 1995, that means that x is equal to 10 because it's 10 years since 1985. So when we do the math, x is 10, we're going to do y hat equals 0.631 times 1.453 to the 10th. Now when we do the math here, I don't want us to get messed up. This is how it works. We have to do this piece first. You have to do the something raised to the power first. Get an answer for that, and then whatever that is, multiply that times here. So whatever we get there, we'll do 0.631 times whatever that is. Alright? And that's how we do that. If you do this number times that and then raise to the power, you're going to get way off. Okay? So here, raise to the power and then hit equals and then find this. So let me show you how I do it in the calculator. So if we get the calculator over here, here's how I do it. So there we go. So I do 1.453, and the power button is this one right here. Let's see the little caret, the little up arrow going on. So to the power of 10 equals, and I get this number here. And then I don't even do anything from there. I don't write it down or anything. I just say times, and then I'm going to say this number here. So the 0.631 equals, and there I go. I got 26.47, we'll say. So I got 26.47. And well, we went to it went to 3 decimal places in the book, so we'll go to 3 here. So 0.466, we'll say. So 466. We'll round to 3 places. So we got that. So that was if we use the equation, that's what our predicted amount was. Okay. So they ask us now, all right, well, let's write all these things down. So from the table, if we look at the value from the table for 95 or for year 10, it was 33.759. From the graph, when I looked at the graph and I looked at where the curve was amongst all the dots, I got about 20, which was kind of far off. And then I'm predicting the number of users, so I looked at 15 going left to right, and then I went up to the line, and then that was at about 20 on the y-axis. And then from the equation, we just got it over here, we got 26.466. And then they asked us to find the residual. Remember how the residual worked? The residual was the actual minus the predicted. Residuals, the last thing we talked about in chapters in the last chapter, in chapter 3 in 3.7. So actual minus predicted. Well, actual comes from the table, and it was the 33.759. The predicted comes from the equation, which was the 26.466. So the residual for 1995 would be this right here. So 33.759 minus 26.466 equals 7.293. That's the residual for 1995. Now if you remember how the residuals work, as to whether that they're being positive or negative, if it's a positive residual, does that mean that our prediction is higher or lower than the actual value? I've always got to draw a picture for this. So if this time I'll draw a curve. So here's the curve, and we had a positive residual, so that means that our dot was above the curve, and then so that's like, so here's like our XY axis, and so then there's our curve, there's our dot, and our positive residual meant that it was like this distance right here, so it was above the curve. Our prediction would be right there, on the curve. All of our predictions are always on the curve. So is our prediction an overestimate or an underestimate? Well, because it's positive, our actual value is higher than our prediction. So our prediction is lower than the actual value. In this case, our prediction is an underestimate. We have underestimated it using the curve. Okay? Because the prediction was lower than the actual value, and that's why we got a positive one, because we subtracted the actual minus predicted. Actual was higher, predicted was lower, so we ended up with a positive number. Okay? Alright, hopefully that clears up some stuff with number 7.